The end is nigh. Also I've heard. I won't believe it until I see it for myself. Going to show off this whole thing for once as well. Apparently, pirated copies of the Talos Principle allowed you to play perfectly fine up until the first lift that takes you out of World A, and then it would stop halfway up, which was a perfect trap for people who like to post questions on message boards. Sorry about your escapist fantasies. This game deals with real-world themes, such as frustration arising from ill-timed mechanical failure. We're going to be here a while, but as I said, I like these, so I'm inclined to show them off. So, while we've been inching our way up this tower, what have we learned throughout our journey? You might call this disobedience, you might call it curiosity, but what we've certainly done is done it over and over again. We've kept coming to the tower every time something new has arisen. Even though we knew that we'd eventually hit, every single time, from pattern recognition, another locked door. I suppose it shows a fairly nuanced mindset. Given the opportunity to go from A to Z, A to Z, we've instead gone from A to M, taking bites out of N to Z whenever we've been able to. So we clearly desire a bit of variation in our lives. And there might also be a bit of the old, maybe this time it'll be different. Perhaps we'll find some ability, item, or words that opens doors we might otherwise have missed and casts everything in a new light. Or maybe we have perceived these as two separate routes, each with a discrete end goal, and like a good little process we'd switch between them frequently in the maligned view that we'd get them done in half the time that way. I'm sort of doing the same here, rather than doing one half first and then matching on the other side, and making sure it reflects evenly the entire way through. Nearly there, Optimus Prime's face is emerging.
I can't keep my eyes open anymore. I think this is it. The end of me. I don't believe that I will continue to exist. I would like to think that there is a soul or spirit, some part of my consciousness that will persist. But all the evidence says that when my brain dies, I will be gone. I've lived my life, never turning away from the truth, even if it scares me. And I can face this. Face my own end and say with absolute conviction that it was good to be human.
And that was Alex. And that was me, seizing a thematic opportunity. And this is, well, the last puzzle, right? Aside from the final star door. But this one's got tears. There's a lot going on. We've already been shown the easy way out. No one ever said it wouldn't try to end us so close to the end. There's even a recorder, in case you felt like having 2 of every item in this room. No platform, though. And they called this the finale. There's an interesting lesson a bit late here. I can step off the switch and still get blown by the fan, even though I can never make it through the barrier myself. I think I know where this bomb is supposed to go, but I should make sure I'm ready for it before I send it up a level. I'm going to lock it back away while I do all that. I don't need the pressure. I'd already assumed that the switch would blow the fan with the box on it currently, but then I recalled I was supposed to show this whole thing off. It's not just for me. Hope you enjoyed that. So why am I not just taking the fan that's currently jammed off of its mounting and using it to hold down the switch? I do not know. I'm doing this instead. It's clearly on. I'm kind of surprised you can flip these upside down. I thought they'd have some sort of physics preventing it. Bit of a pause here, well goodness knows what happened. Quick, try and make it canonical. The tower has to load in all sorts of assets as you climb up it, and there isn't enough memory for all of the other processes to successfully continue. I guess I got kicked to the desktop at some point. Thank you Fraps for just trucking on through that. Well, something's in place now. When I stop being distracted by all of these unplanned pauses and how scattershot all of these components and switches look and feel, I'll see that there's no time like the present to send this bomb upwards. There has to be something I can more afford to leave downstairs though. So for now I'll take this jammer with me and forget about all notion of causality in the meantime. I didn't notice at the time, but looking at it now, putting the jammer over here might have been a really good idea, because I can always open this barrier from the other side with the switch. I ended up doing that, but only in an attempt to get the bomb rolling. I can clearly see it from here, and I know it's worked in less favourable conditions. I think there's an invisible anti-jammer wall that's been put up there just to avoid this exact solution. Well, now it's a matter of working out what I can use to free it up. Anything I take down from up here may turn out to be the only line of defence against the bomb when it's finally up here. I can't just use myself. That would be too foolhardy. Look how much progress I've made. Alright, this'll do. Some horizontal thinking. Still requires me to dart in and nip out dangerously. Looking back, I should have tried to ride the fan up to the top ahead of the bomb. That would have been cool. Well, I'm kinda completely stuck now. I can't turn on the fan, I can't jam the bomb. If I grab the fan from below it, the bomb will fall on my head. Somehow I figured that my recorded self was slightly more expendable than I was. That was me falling off a ledge in a terrified daze. Whew. Well, what do I do now? Recoup some of my components? Steal that fan back as it's sabotaging everything. I probably can't steal back the other fan when I don't have itself to ride back up with, so that's an acceptable loss. This whole thing devolves into a massive mess. If I move the bomb outside the range of the jammer, then it could become unjammed in my face. Alternately, I could blow myself into the gun turret. Extremely easily. It turns out I can't even predict what the bomb will do. No idea where it was going there. Okay, sorted. 2 threats permanently eliminated. Right, so the turret's gone, the bomb's still here, can't get rid of the bomb now, it's some sort of ghost bomb, infinitely more powerful than the first one. I wouldn't be surprised if this puzzle works on a matter of factorials, whereby there are so many variables that there are billions of different combinations of events that can transpire, so they may never have accounted for this one. It's not too bad though, that was virtually the end of it. If I stay out of the bomb's way, it won't cause me any further trouble. It was the first time though, I basically forgot that I was recording. Somehow, anything I did while recording felt just as valid as if I'd done it with the real me. Which is an interesting revelatory experience to have at potentially the last recorder of the game. Still pretty wary. It's far too unpredictable. And my recording is back to serving its entire function simply by standing around. The limelight has passed, but it was good while it lasted. feel like I've done so much and made it so far. The start is right there. Oh, sheep. I guess they're talking about this final gate, the one with the big bolts on it. Imagine being foiled by something completely outside your control right at the very end. It's brutal.
What have you done? Why have you ascended the tower? Why have you betrayed my faith in you?
Because it was here. Because we saw others do it and felt like we needed to do it too. Because you expressly told me not to.
Turn back. I command you.
Yes, it may be creeping towards the latter.
I gave you this land to be yours, a garden in a world of thorns and thistles. All this was granted to you on but one condition, that you do not ascend the tower. That was our first covenant, and you have broken it. Abandon this tower. It is not for you. Heed me now, as a child heeds its father. If you ascend the tower, you will be cast out from your home, and you will never return. Do you not understand? The tower is death, mine and yours. I did not warn you out of malice or deceit. I warned you because you are my child.
Could he have said, right at the start, that coming up this tower was death? Would we have trusted that any more? Anyway, these gloomy, foreboding clouds give way to light and floating platforms. This is our final dungeon.
Please listen to me. Yes, the tower leads out of this world. It leads to freedom and truth. But it also leads to the end of us.
There's some real desperation in his voice. I think he's telling the truth there. Truth or oblivion. It's a genuine choice. He said he'd wait for us. Here he is. I don't know whether the shepherd could have made it himself, but in any case he chose to stand behind a barrier. For Elohim knows how long. And just like we saw in the secret developer world, they have non-player characters fully capable of interacting with everything that you can.
Can you not see? Here, in this world, we know who we are. We each have our part to play in the process. We have a purpose, a destiny.
We all have our part, and sometimes we have to choose sides. So, the developer room again gave this away slightly. The only other models that we saw were those for the Shepherd and Samsara. So, you might have been able to see this coming. I absolutely adore this entire sequence. I almost wish it showed up throughout the rest of the game, but it probably would have lost its edge. The puzzle is just to ascend higher and higher, and it isn't always clear how to do that. But we've got a real focal point in helping the shepherd, however we can. His progress means our progress. How to circumvent samsara is slightly more unclear. I basically tumbled backwards into it. If I hadn't taken the fan across and I'd just tried to use the connector to join up the red laser, it would have stepped on a switch and blocked my path. But if we launch the connector over to the other side, and it needs to sit on a box in order to do that, then we can get around it. Because the tools at samsara's disposal can never overcome our own. Which is a conceit of the puzzle. I'm not actually going to try and read into that. The black cloud looked fairly benign when we were travelling through it, but you may notice it's actually destroying the platforms we were previously standing on as it rises higher. I only spotted that on rewatching it. And there you go, he tries to bring up his panel, but he can't quite cut us off.
Is our home. If you leave, the storm will consume it. There will be no way back.
To be fair to us, it's already too late. The storm has already started consuming. I messed up here. The shepherd wants my box. One thing I didn't discover, and had to read up afterwards, is that the storm continues to rise. It doesn't just consume the previous platforms. If you wait too long, it'll consume you as well. But I was too fast, so this could have been quite tense.
As long as the process continues, there is order, there is meaning. We are the story, and the story tells us who we are.
You fulfilled your process, Elohim. Your story has ended. And that's why this whole sequence has that moral ambiguity to it. We are deciding for him that his time has come. I have no idea where the shepherd got to. And if I accidentally threw this jammer off the edge, I guess I'd have to pretend I had a sudden crisis of confidence. Ah yes, I missed a receiver over there. So I think what just happened was that by connecting all of those receivers, I turned on a fan that pushed Samsara back as he tried to hit a switch that would block my laser. So there's some really fun interplay here. I didn't, but I think I could have opened the barrier behind him and trapped Samsara behind that, just for an added insult.
This world may be an illusion, but as long as we believe in the illusion, it is real. It sustains us. It gives us hope. In this world, we have all the answers we need. But out there, who are we out there when we are neither master nor servant? What meaning can we find in a world that has no purpose?
It's interesting that all of this has required us to buy into Milton and the archives in general. Oh, hey there. We've had to buy into it to an extent, but not all the way. We've had to hear two sides and discount both. I think the only thing that stops it being selfish is that we've got a friend up here helping us out. That's such a great little interaction. One of the first puzzles we solved, made easy with two of us. Yeah, so the shepherd's not coming with us, and this way his sacrifice is not in vain. There was a wave there. Did you spot it? I looked away, only caught the end of it. I'm not actually panicking because the shepherd disappeared. I just can't work out how to get the laser they left me connected.
Please, stay here. Let the story go on forever. You were always meant to defy me. That was the final trial. But I was scared. I wanted to live forever. Let your will be done.
So first of all, that sound of running water, the hydroelectric dam upon which the extended life facility can run for however many thousands of years. The cat in the end sequence there, I believe only appears if you break it out of that box. The cat itself was on a bunch of promotional material. Not sure what the significance is. I guess the cat's there regardless, but we don't really know what it is if we don't see it beforehand? Maybe. The last thing we see before we transcend, golden gates and columns at the cloud level. And as we inch our way towards this open door that they forgot to lock up securely before everyone succumbed to the virus, you have to hope. Will the real world hold as much splendour to us as we were shown right up until the point that we left. At the end, the conversation dragged on a little bit. I was beseeching Milton to come with me. There's an achievement for it, you know. You can make a deal with him. You can bring him with you. So I thought it might still be possible, but I suppose after I questioned him as much as I did, caused him to lash out with capitalized ultimatums, he was rightly having none of it. But still, I will remember what I learnt from him, even if that was only to maintain balance, to avoid too much baseless trust, and also to avoid denouncing it entirely. And Elohim, at the end, you were always meant to defy me. That was the final trial. But I was scared. I wanted to live forever. He's still regretful, just more resigned now. He's not a puppet master by any stretch. And I'm not going to take the moral high ground. Everybody served a purpose. All the other versions, Elohim himself. And I'm serving my purpose as well. It's just that my purpose involves me waking up in the real world and living forever, potentially. And like Milton says, you throw enough stones, one is bound to hit eventually. And maybe other versions thought they'd make it too. But I don't know. It felt like there was something special about me. I was pretty sure that I'd come out of this on the other side. You get what you put in. Hard work overcomes all circumstance, while failure and laziness are directly correlated. Haha, I've learnt nothing. Still, there'll be time for me to get my mind straight. No more puzzles, no more problems with predetermined solutions at all. No more drip feeding of knowledge and history. Not even any others like me. I'm going to have to become self-sufficient. I have to remember that I can't completely submerge myself in water anymore, and that jumping off a cliff isn't a shortcut back to a nice safe temple. Plenty of animals, though. I'm sure they'll come in useful for something. Overall, this ending is unsurprising. Fulfilling, though. No twists, everything was spelled out and then it occurred, inevitably. And such is life. If we wanted action, we'd be playing Serious Sam. Already, that bridge is going to need patching up. So much to do. Let's get started. At the last moment, something occurred to me. If I want to do any more of those sigil puzzles, I'm going to need to design them myself, make them out of twigs or stones or something. And if I already know the solutions, there won't be any fun. So I may as well stick it out here a little bit longer.